patience is in our lessons. In lesson number 1, question and answer number 11, have you not learned that your word is bond, regardless to whom or what? Well, why is it number 11? Why isn't it number 1? Why isn't it number 2? Well, what is number 1? What is number 2? What is number 3? What is the context of the first 10 lessons? Because if we master the first 10, we realize what we had to go through to master all that, and we had learned how to be patient. It takes patience to civilize the black man. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
It takes patience to civilize the black woman. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Why did Musa have a hard time civilizing the devil 2000 BC? Because he was a savage. Our people are savage. A savage is one that has lost the knowledge of themselves and living the life of a beast. So to go and try to civilize a savage, you come with peace, you come with beautiful words, you come dressed down, smelling good, offering, say, get that stuff out of my face, nigga. I ain't trying to hear that, man. I'm trying to make this money. What? Pee Wee Herman coming over here with this bow tie, man. Whoa, ain't no Pee Wee Herman. No. See, don't let them stir that up in you. We know you that real dude, but you are not here to beat up your people. So you gotta be patient with them. And the patience can't be there if we don't have a comprehensive knowledge. See, Moses couldn't be with the wise man because the wise man said, how could you follow me if you don't have patience? And how could you have patience if you don't have a comprehensive knowledge? The point I'm getting at is that when we're going through our trials, to seek assistance from Allah through patience and prayer, we need to be able to comprehend what we're dealing with so that we can be more patient with the process. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad had to run for 7 years from his own brothers based out of envy, jealousy, hatred, slander. Because after Master Fard Muhammad left him in charge and he started teaching that man who was before us was not Prophet Farad, that was Allah, God in person. Right then and there. Oh, hell no. See, now he changing the teaching, And then you had those in the ranks also that was already jealous and felt he shouldn't be the one in charge. Because Elijah Muhammad was in the back of the room. He wasn't the known one that's always out on Front Street, so to speak, while Master Fard Muhammad was around. He was the one that was always following behind him, looking like he's just tagging along, when all along he was being taught night and day for 3.5 years. So when you bring someone from the back of the room that everybody's looking at based off of class, and materialism, and want to be like, what, him? Please, all right, if you say so, but we gonna run circles around this Negro. I ain't following him nowhere. But you're not understanding who's the one that chose him.
That's right.
You looking at the person, but not the one that chose him. So what do you think about the one that chose him? He don't know what he's doing. He must not be, he must be slipping. He don't know about this. This dude is not the one. But that's the way some of us are about Minister Farrakhan. Dealing with his student ministers, dealing with his laborers. The minister ain't everywhere. He don't know. Look, I'm telling you, that brother right there, he just standing. The minister don't know. We underestimate the minister. We underestimate the power of God. And if it doesn't apply, let it fly. We underestimate the belief that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is physically alive and guiding our minister. We underestimate that Master Fard Muhammad is physically alive. We think that we are just by ourselves. It's funny because in the Holy Quran, Allah says, does man think that we don't see him? Didn't we give him 2 eyes and 2 lips and a tongue? Why is Allah saying that? Because he got eyes, he got lips, and he got a tongue. And he's like, I see you, money, and soon I'm going to step to you and tell you about yourself. Did we not point out to him the 2 conspicuous ways? We showed him devil and we showed him God, and he think we don't see him? Really? See, so when we start dealing with hard trials and necessary to establish truth, here's the Honorable Elijah Muhammad on the run for 7 years. He wasn't running from his enemies in the mosque because he was scared of them. He was outrunning them because the master told him, you're going to have to take plenty. There's a price you're going to have to pay to save your people. That's right. And so when you're tried by your own people that you love, it's easier when you're dealing with somebody you don't know that's outside. But in your family structure, in your mosque structure, in your set, in your crew, now that's what stirs up the emotion that may cloud your thinking, because it's coming by a way in which you knew not. As David said in the scripture, I thought that it would be from an enemy afar off, but it was an old familiar friend. How many times that we know, brothers, in situations that have happened in the street before we came into this knowledge, where some of our own close friends were murdered by friends that was right in the same crew with us, and we didn't know they was the one that did it, and they cried at the funeral with us and everything. And they killed our man based out of their own envy, even though that brother was looking out for them like taking off the shirt off his back. And I'm talking about in savagery. Yes. If you don't know about it, you've seen enough Godfather movies and whatnot to see it. Brothers and sisters, that has really happened among us in some of our lives. Is that right? So, you know, those kind of things. Now, here's the Honorable Elijah on a run for 7 years. He runs until he wears them out. Could only see his family coming in disguise because they was wanted to kill him. Right? Everywhere he went, he was teaching. Going from city to city, and at the same time had an assignment to study 104 books that Master Prophet Muhammad gave him a list of, and was in and out of the congressional library studying from time to time. Each book had an aspect of the life of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. I heard someone say one time, I don't know how true it is, that one of the books he went into, he saw his picture and it scared him. So now here's a man moving about, but the God is with him. The God is keeping in contact with him. Then after he wears out his enemies, that's in the same work that he's in. The FBI is trying to get him. He gets away from the FBI. He's getting ready to get on the train, walk right by them. They don't even see him. Get on the train. Now he's like, look, I'm done with all this. I done went through all that. Now I'm about to get arrested. And you know what? I'm out of here. And he said he heard through the sound of the train's engine and wheels turning the recital of the Quran, where Allah is saying, I, Allah, am the best knower. Do men think that they can go on saying they believe and not be tried? When others was tried before them. This is so that we may know the truthful ones from the liars. And he turned back around and went and turned himself into the FBI agent, and they locked him up for 5 years. Now 12 years away from your family for God. That's a severe trial. See, now if he's the first begotten of the dead and he had to go through that, must Jesus bear the cross alone and we all go free? Hell no, there's a cross for you and a cross for me. So that's a sign of letting us know the kind of trials. It may not be to the level of severity as what he went through, but in our own life, it's a severe trial. Based on the degree of where we're at in our understanding. Because what does Allah say in the Quran? Y'all all right? Yes, sir. That he does not put a burden on any soul beyond their scope. That's right. What does that mean? Come on, bring it down. That Allah puts not a burden on anyone beyond their scope. Because in ignorance, we can have a burden on our shoulders and be like, look, I know Allah put this on me. It's not beyond my scope. I'm going to be able to overcome it. I always had a disagreement with that. Because I'm like, look, I don't understand how we can just say that. If I can't see myself coming out of the burden, how the hell am I going to overcome it if it's beyond my scope? What does that mean, brother? So if it's beyond your scope, then Allah didn't put it on you? No. From what I get it from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, if it's beyond your scope meaning seeing, being able to see yourself come out of it. So if there's a burden on your shoulders that's heavy laden, severe trial, but you don't see no light at the end of the tunnel, what is the guidance of Allah for us where that is concerned? Have we not expanded thy breasts? The 94th surah, the expansion. Y'all all right?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna have to put a pin in this. I know it because time is on us, but we gotta do part 2 next week by the grace of Allah. All praises are due to Allah. All praises are due to Allah. The expansion. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent and Merciful. Have we not expanded for thee thy breasts, and removed from thee thy burden, which weighed down thy back, and exalted for thee thy mention? The expansion of the breast is dealing with the breastplate, right? Where our lungs are. The capacity to be able to take in more air. Now, we're not talking about physical air now, we're talking about taking in more inspiration. If the burden is beyond my scope, I need to go study so that I can get the inspiration and knowledge to be able to see myself through this burden. Expand my breast. Give me more inspiration so I can be able to get away from this anxiety and grief that's weighing down my back based off of that doggone burden. I ain't going to just give up. Why am I not going to give up? Because in Surah 90 of the Holy Quran, Allah said He created us to face difficulties. So if I'm created to face difficulties, that means I'm created to overcome the difficulty. I'm not created to go around the difficulty. I'm created to face it, stand as a soldier, look dead at it, and challenge this doggone thing. But I can't challenge it if I don't have the knowledge. Is that right? All praises are due to Allah. The enemy teaches us to run around difficulties.
That's right. Yes, he does.
Because his world is made up of a transitory life. His world is made up of sport and play.
That's right.
He wants everyone to live the easy life.
Right. Come on.
Because if you're used to living the easy life, you don't challenge yourself. You don't challenge the God in yourself. You're always looking for an easy way around the least force of resistance. Years ago, you had Jack LaLanne, is that right?
That's right.
And he was doing everything the conventional way. Then somebody came up with creatine. Hey, you can pump up faster.
That's right.
You don't need Jack LaLanne. You can look like Lou Ferrigno in 90 days.
Right.
Yeah, but your testicles are shrinking. Excuse me. Your kidneys getting all messed up. Yeah, but I look good. Hey, yo, that's vanity. Because gravity will take that. And if heaven is a good black woman, hey, yo, we gonna have to go the conventional way. We're gonna do some push-ups, we're gonna do some dips, we're gonna eat right. Is that right? We're gonna start out small and then get big with this. Is that right? What am I saying? The enemy is always looking for a way to get us to do things faster. He wants you to stop using the conventional oven, put it in the microwave. Radioactive. Come on now. Put some radiation in your body. Is that right? Now look, if you're using the microwave, don't feel bad. Stop it. Come on, you're walking around glowing, and you don't even know you're glowing. You think it's your shine from How to Eat to Live. You glowing. You glowing because you got radiation all up in you. Is that right? You wondering why your cell phone keep going out and you keep. And now I'm in a zone. I see towers everywhere. It's you, man. You got too much radiation in your body. Right. It's heating up your cell phone. That thing about to blow up. All right, you know. There got to be some levity with this. Is that right? So, all praises due to Allah. Let me move on and close this out because I keep saying that and I'm not doing it. All right, but back to hard trials are necessary to establish truth. and dealing with this surah 2. And we're dealing from the 19th section of surah 2. For those of you that may want to go back and look at it, read your Quran. You know, there's something here that Allah is saying when, after He tells us to seek assistance through patience and prayer, He says, and we shall certainly try you with something of fear and hunger and loss of property and lives and fruits, and give good news to the patient. So that lets us know the criterion of the trial that will stir up our emotions. Hunger, oh yeah, hunger will stir up some emotions if it lasts long enough. Is that right? Yeah. Loss of property. Oh man, they repoed that car. You know you what? After I put all that money in there, I've been paying them all this money. Just because I missed 2 payments, they just come in. What? Oh, hell no. Loss of property, loss of the house, loss of the job, loss of them red bottom shoes that you only wore at Savior's Day.
Right.
I mean, everybody loved them shoes. They were so comfortable. Somebody done took my doggone red bottom. I know it was my niece. Little heifer. Say so. No, I'm just trying to just make it as real as possible. Because if it's not put in layman terms, loss of a marriage, loss of a loved one, these are things that become trials. Is that right? So it says it says hunger, it says loss of property and lives and fruits. And it says, and give good news to the patient. See, there's nothing that Allah will allow to happen to us that's not for a reason. And when these trials come up and it stirs up the emotion in us, remember, the purpose of it is to bring out the best of us and allow us to see the worst about ourselves so that we can work to discard that worst part of our personality or our character. The biggest trial we have is to establish this truth that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave to us through the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. This truth that we have in the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is to liberate the minds and hearts of our people and bring us out from under America's clutches. Come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins and her plagues. It's this truth that allows us to separate ourselves from the mind of Yaqub and Yaqub's people. We're closing on this. See, when we read in the scriptures of the Bible about Israel, all white people come up under the name of Israel. Because Israel is not a geographical location. Israel is the mind of Jacob, who is the father of the devil. Jacob in Arabic is Yaqub. Jacob is the one in the scripture that wrestles with the angel all night long until he prevails. And he tells the angel, I'm not going to let you go until you give me a name. And the angel gives him the name Israel. And then from that point on, every time you read about Israel in the Bible, you're really reading about the mind of that one that was wrestling with the angel. But it doesn't tell you what kind of wrestling it was. This wasn't WWF.
Come on now. Come on now.
This wrestling that he was doing now, look. Jacob is that one that is styled as Lucifer. He's a falling angel. So that means he has the knowledge of God. He's from the family of God, but he got kicked out for causing trouble among the righteous. So in his causing trouble, he decides he's going to prove God wrong and make another people from the people of God. So they disguise it in the scriptures in Genesis with him dealing with strips of wood and the brown cattle and the speckled cattle. These are people.
Yes, sir.
He's wrestling with the genes of man. Genesis, gene, the beginning. He's wrestling with the gene of man. He was the top, the wisest one of his circle. So as he's wrestling with the genes of man, that's the angel he's wrestling with. He's trying to take the gene of the original man and separate it so he can make another people that will come under the environment that he sets, and his environment will be based on lying, stealing, and murder. All that takes place in his work to make another people. And where would he do this work? And the scripture says, I, John, on the island of Patmos, waiting for the Lord, the word of the Lord. That's Jacob. Patmos is Pelon. He couldn't do it in heaven, so he got kicked out, and he had his followers with him. So as we said from the book of Habakkuk, God came from Teman, and the Holy One from Mount Paran. These are two different gods. One is holy, the other one isn't. And they're not coming at the same time. As is written in the scriptures, as by one man, sin came into the earth and death followed. See, that's the God coming from Teman. Then by another man, all shall be made alive. The Son of Man comes out of the east unto the west as lightning strikes. He's that Holy One that's coming to bring a word that's going to make all alive, because everybody died in the mind of Israel, in the mind of Yaqub. Everybody that follows this Adam called that white man died in that Adam, because nothing about his way of life is of righteousness. And so for us to be able to fight in the midst of this kind of gravitational pull, because the white man's world has a gravitational pull towards evil. So what will make us know what the uphill road is? It's to free a slave. When you're going uphill, you're going against gravitation. Is that right? So when we talk, when the enemy and Negroes is talking integration, we talking separation. We going totally against the gravitational pull of the mind of these people. The politician, the Negro politician, he